Welcome to Woodcraft Revival, where we talk about all things associated with wood. Today, I'm trying to get a staging area to air dry my timbers from our timber frame project, and I want that to be as level and as steady as possible so we're not promoting any twist or bend in our timbers. So we got to get this area cleaned up, and we got to get it leveled off as much as we can. So come along, we got some sawdust to move, and we got some ground to kind of cut down with the tractor. So needless to say, I have a lot of things going on in this tiny little flat spot beside our barn. Air drying wood here. Now it's kind of becoming a mass of collection of just scrap wood that I found. We've got our charcoal crucible here, so I do a lot of burn there. Garbage wood, cardboard boxes, they get burned here. You guys can't see the slab pile behind you. And then here is a big pile of sawdust that was from the previous mill position. The mill used to sit right here. So this was all the sawdust that came off. We're going to scoop that up and we're going to put that on our compost pile. And then over here I used to air dry some wood, and there's a lot of just small scrap, some sticker boards, those type of things. Of course I've got my brush hog over here as well. So we're going to try to get this area cleaned up, and I want to level up the best I can with some cinder blocks. And then some of this poplar over here that's getting a little long in the tooth, it's been down for a while. I want to mill some timbers out of that. Probably try, we may try 6x6s and put those on the cinder block and almost make like a subfloor where then I can come in and put the timbers that I've milled, the actual posts and beams that are going to make up our timber frame structure, put those there. So less like to twist, be a nice flat surface off the ground, and we'll just allow that to air dry better. Now ideally with timber frame, you don't want to let it air dry too long. We want to be able to stage it and start getting to work on it. So I need 5 posts for my main structure. So as I get those 5 logs milled, get them staged there, then I can come grab one. The first bay in the barn there is where I'll be doing the timber frame work. Get that joinery done, bring it back, put it on the rack, grab the next one. And we'll also figure out a way to cover that up. We want to cover it to still allow airflow, but we don't want moisture and water coming down on it. So we'll have to figure that part out. Nobody home. Okay, I think that gets us a nice smooth area here to set up our staging area. Get all these boards out of the way. Don't realize just how much composted sawdust there was there until I started digging it out. And then I recall when I flattened all this off, it all sloped that way, and then I brought in a lot of gravel. I think I put 30 tons of gravel just from where you guys are standing to the slab pile, wide and deep. So it made this, used to be a little ditch line. The water would come down here and turn about where you guys are and go underneath, or actually go through the gravel in a little depression there. With all this sawdust, it's made that level. I realized I could keep cutting and cutting and cutting and still getting some good material for the compost pile, but I think we're going to stop there. I don't want to make it too deep where it holds water and we've got timber hanging out in standing water. So I've got some cinder blocks, got them behind you guys. I'm going to lay this out in a rectangle grid, cinder blocks on the ground, and then what we can mill to put in those beams to be a place for the timber to actually reside on. I'll show you. It's easier to show than to explain. So most of everything I'm cutting for this project is going to be 12 feet or shorter, except for my main span beam, which is going to be almost 20 feet rough. So I'm going to lay this out to where we can accommodate 12-foot material without any issue. The main span beam, my goal is to hopefully cut it, do the joinery, and be ready to set it, because that's going to be a trick, because I got a mill longer than what my mill can actually handle, that'll be a fun video to do. But I'm going to lay these out and every 24, so we'll have nice good support for those timbers. These are actually leftover cinder blocks from my fireplace chimney construction on my house. So these things are 22 years old. Yeah, about 22 years old. Hung around a bit. All right, so the mason string may have been a bit overkill, but allowed me to line it out the way we needed to. And what we're looking for, we're not looking for perfectly plumb or perfectly level across the whole platform. What we're looking for is to remove any dips or sags. So when I go to put my 6x6 boards down here that are going to hold our actual timbers, then I can come back underneath and shim those up. Just looking for any sags or anything, because that's the last thing we want to do is put all this weight on these timbers that we're going to be doing our joinery on, and they start to mirror an uneven or non-level platform underneath it. So we want to make sure we can get that as true as possible. So even if I'm sloped toward the side by side of the tractor, it's not a huge deal, as long as I don't have a big dip halfway down the run. And man, is it hot. I am at the time of day where there is no shade on this section. I had to move the camera. You guys are back there standing in the shade because the camera keeps overheating. The sun is so intense directly. So I think what we'll do, I'll have shade on the mill here in probably a couple more hours. And that's what we're ready to do next, is get some logs and mill. So I may go to the shady porch, have a tall glass of water, and maybe a pipe. Contemplate the meaning of life. All right, so I may have spent a little bit more time on the porch contemplating than I originally planned. It's 2 days later, and you can see the sun is still directly on me, but the mill is sun-free. So let's see if we can clean up some of these logs that have been laying around a little too long. Get in there. Trying to get a 14-footer here. Of course. And guess where the gas is, boys and girls? All right, so there we go. This poplar has a lot of taper in it, but also has a little bit of a bend right here at the beginning. So I'm not sure what we're going to get out of it. And look, I want 14 feet. I've tried to explain this, I guess, in the last 2 days, and I don't know that I've done a good job, but the center blocks on the ground, of course, keep everything off the ground. This, if you imagine laying 2 long poplar boards down, like 4x4s, I think is what I'm shooting for now, like railroad tracks. So put railroad tracks down, and that allows me to shim spots where those, it keeps where my center blocks dip and go up and down and those type of things. That's going to take a little bit out of that. I can shim it. And then I come back, just like cross ties on a railroad track, I'll do 4x4s that will lay across the top. So instead of being under and the rail sitting on top, they'll be on top of the rails. So it's like a reverse railroad track. And what that allow me to do is take out all the undulation. Again, if I was just doing 4-quarter material or 8-quarter material, I wouldn't mess with this. But the fact that I want these timber frame timbers to be as true as possible, especially since they're poplar, they're going to dry out fast. They're going to check. They have a chance to warp. I want them to, until I can get to them, I want them to lay as flat on that rail as possible. So let's see what we can get here. Yes, check out my handy little awesome purchase I got when I was in Canada. So some of you know I was up at Norwood's headquarters for their open house event this summer. And they had some really good sales going on. And one was this. I got this for $30 US. And that was shipped to me for free. So I didn't even have to worry about getting it on the plane, which was awesome. And people call these different things. You call them a PV, you could call them a picaroon, which is not really a picaroon, but all these different words. Some call it a can hook, but I don't call it a can hook. I call it a can hook because we don't want negativity around here on the farm. that twist. I didn't think it was as bad as it was. Look at it. That's pretty all square. Let me stick my finger in between. Fortunately, this side and this side are parallel. And that's all I need. Even though we're going way this way, way that way. Parallel's all I need. What's funny is an actual square on the other end. Okay, so this is my last decent poplar log that I have in the yard right now. That's old, a little punky. So we're going to use it up for our cross brace pieces now. And I'm excited. Last night, or this morning, we got just over a 1/4 inch of rain. So this crazy drought we've been experiencing here in West Virginia, that didn't break it by any means, but it definitely helped. So my water tanks are full again. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. All right, so out of that one log, I got 4 4x4s that I believe are just right at 10 feet long. 10 feet 3 inches. Should be fine. So I think, what do I need? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 cross members, so I got plenty to dance with there. And yeah, I can push those together and use that 5 feet. Be exquisite. So 5 feet, so be able to get 2 out of each one. So I'll just need to cut up 3 of the 4. The 4th one be bonus. And that'll get me what I need. So let's, what the easiest way to do this is, I may just stack all these crossways here, take a chainsaw, because again, we're not doing fine woodworking. All right, so I think I can stack all these up on themselves and we'll cut them. Now, don't mind the pig sex in the background. Remember, we are on a farm, and that always happens at the most inopportune time. You may have seen me mark these. Just put a T for top on them just so I'd know I had two. One dimension is exactly the same on both sets of beams. The other dimension's off by 1/8 of an inch. So use that dimension to always be the top. Then we don't have any issues with dippage. We got too much dippage on this place as it is. I swear I think he does that on purpose. He gets up to the electric fence, backs into the electric fence. I don't know if that's to help him get the height that he needs. That little extra jolt. We'll leave that off camera. All right, so 5 feet. Okay, so let's just see what that gets us, if it gets us anything. So I put some screws down here in the ends of these 6x6s, just so I could attach. Well, my knot came loose, daggone it. So allow us to kind of do a test here and just see the consistency that we have. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while, right? So that worked out. Well, worked out better than I thought it would. Well, let's check the other side before we get too big for our britches. Wow. Okay, so the middle two, not even an 1/8 of an inch, probably a 1/16. Which I can live with that all day long. All right, so the purpose of this, so you may think, well, Troy, this is really overkill, wasn't it? And the reason is we're going to be milling green lumber, and by green, just the fact that it hasn't been, it's just a log that was cut down. Now, granted, it was cut down 6 months ago, but it's still going to be so full of moisture that if we lay this on something that we think is flat, but it has all these undulations, then when we put weight on that and it tries to move, it's going to want to mimic whatever's below it. The cellular structure of this wood has not hardened yet to be rigid. That's why it's kind of hard to believe, but if I could take one of those 8-foot logs up and pick it up like Superman by the end and it'd be pointing out, it would actually have a curve to it because gravity would make it bow enough. It's not rigid enough when it's green like that to stay straight. So in this situation, having this bed, so these 3 layers, cinder block, 6x6, 4x4, having these 3 layers has taken out the unevenness or the undulations of the ground and is going to give us a nice flat surface to put our beams on. And the orientation that I have these, I just, wishing in my mind that if I had forks on my tractor, then I could fork my posts and my beams right on here because I could go in between these 4x4s. But we're not there yet. Well, I think I'll put my bonus 4x4 right here on the rack for now. But I want to end with this encouragement. Be sure to spend time with those you hold most dear and try to get out in God's beautiful creation. We'll talk to you soon.